Hi, I wanted to talk about the bridge of incidence and what that can often mean when what you're trying to change or get or become or whatever is something that's pretty different from where you are right now. When you're trying to change into something else, which if you're trying to change from somebody who can't pay their bills into a millionaire, you who you are as the person who can't pay your bills and you who you will be as the millionaire are like barely recognizable to each other. There's a lot of changing that happens between those two things. Now, can you get $1 million dropped onto your lap as a poor person without changing into a millionaire state of mind? Yes, you probably can. However, you're not going to be a millionaire. You're just going to be a poor person with $1 million. So where I wanted to go with this, with the bridge of incidence, is that when you take on the state of something that is different than you currently are mentally, in order to get from point A to point B, the bridge of incidence is often going to consist of just life events that seem unremarkable or, that are out of the ordinary too, show up, and the way that you handle them and react to them is part of the process of changing you from who you were at point A to who you're going to be at point B. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick example. Let's say that you are at a financial point where you've got your bills covered, you have a job, and things are stable, but you don't really have anything extra. You don't have any savings. You don't have a cushion. You're not really able to enjoy life. You can't afford luxuries, things like that. And so let's say, rather than going straight to being a millionaire, you say, you know what I would love to have right now? I would love to have an emergency fund. I'd love to have 6 months worth of expenses in my bank account. If you have 6 months worth of expenses, you're essentially untouchable. Just as a side note here, if you have 6 months of expenses, 6 months is an enormous eternity of time to solve problems in. And if you get fired from your job and you have 6 months worth of expenses, you're going to be good to go. It also allows you to not take a whole bunch of shit from a boss, but that's another story. So let's say that you're currently in the frame of mind where you can pay your bills, not much else. Can't really do anything fun. And, life's not very secure. So let's say you set a goal, 6 months of expenses. Okay, let's say right now you have $1,000 in the bank and you want to get to $15,000 in the bank because let's just say that would be your 6 months of expenses covered. Now, you go into your imaginal state, you see yourself having accomplished that goal. You've got the $15,000 in the bank, and the purpose of that is to keep it there and keep you safe, let's just say, and provide a safety net for you. So you're having a conversation with somebody, your partner, your friend, whoever you talk to the most, who you would talk to this about, and you're saying, wow, I thought this was going to feel good, but I can't believe the freedom I feel from this safety net. My whole life feels different. I'm so much happier. I have so much less stress. I feel like I can handle anything now. This is amazing, and I'm so happy that I accomplished this goal. This was so worth it. Let's just say that's your imaginal scene. And you feel the feelings that you would feel. You feel that security. You feel that lack of tension. You feel that freedom, that safety. So you take on that state, okay? And you do it enough that you feel it real. You feel certain that it's going to happen. You feel like nothing's going to stop me from getting this. This is coming. I know it because I feel it. All right? That's when you know you planted the seed. Now, here's what could happen, okay? Well, let's just say, in your old state of mind, if you came in to say your tax refund, and let's say it's $1,500. In the past, you probably would use that to buy something. You probably had something that you wanted throughout the year, or, just most people take their tax refund and spend it. Now, you've taken on the state of the person who has the emergency fund taken care of, and you get your $1,500. Now, you can't make the right choice. You can't make the wrong choice here. Whatever choice you make is the right choice. But you can make the choice that is congruent with your state, or you can make the choice that sort of goes with your old life. Now, you're going to make that choice, one way or the other. You're either going to spend it or you're going to drop it in your bank account, and resist the urge to blow it. Now, here's what will happen if you have truly taken on the state of the person with the emergency fund. Let's say you spend the money like your old self would. You're going to feel a feeling about having done that you're going to feel like, that did not give me the pleasure that I thought it was going to. That did not give me the pleasure that it would have given me 6 months ago, 1 month ago. This feels wrong. This just doesn't feel like it jibes with who I am. I didn't get anything out of that money. Man, I wish I would have just dropped that into my bank account towards my emergency fund, for example. Or you will drop it into your emergency fund account and be like, I am totally in the state of the person who has the emergency fund. Look at my action that I just took. I wouldn't have taken that before. Either way, the actions that you begin to take in response to normal life events are going to lead you down a path. So, okay, let's say you blew the money, and afterwards you just kind of feel like, oh, that didn't feel like a great choice. How come I don't feel good about this? Maybe you won't even make the connection that you could have put it somewhere else that would have been a part of this overall thing you're trying to do with your state. You will keep being presented with that until you make the different choices. And this is only if you have fully taken on the state. If you have not done that, you may just slide back into your old behavior. If you have planted the seed correctly and you have the new state sort of installed and that sense of knowing, you will be presented with these opportunities to behave in a different way. And eventually, you will start behaving in the way that is congruent with the you that has that $15,000 emergency fund. Hopefully on the first try, you'll have the new behavior, but eventually you will get it. And I'll illustrate this with a personal point. I'm already 8.5 minutes here, but when I made the shift mentally from my old lifestyle, which was every single meal from a diner or a fast food restaurant, eating whatever I wanted. I weighed significantly more than I do now. I hated my body. I had a different lifestyle. I wouldn't look people in the eye because I was so ashamed of myself. When I made the shift mentally, when I said, this isn't me, this isn't my identity, and I'm not going to live like this anymore, it's just a matter of time because I know that this isn't me. I was presented with the stimulus to act in the old way all the time. And much of the time there wasn't a lot of resistance to the new behavior because the new behavior felt right to me in this different state. However, I would have a very stressful day sometimes and just say, screw it. I'm going to take my old route here. I'm going to order $40 worth of like trash, like Pizza Hut, not even good food, just like garbage. And I'm just going to do my old thing because I want relief tonight. And I would order this food, eat it, and afterwards, it just didn't give me the same thing anymore. It never gave me that same thing ever again. I never had that feeling of comfort from food again, ever, after adopting the state. But it took me 18 months between when I first shifted states to the point where I last said, I think this was like September of this last year. So like, I remember saying to a friend of mine, I can't believe I fell for this illusion again. When am I going to figure it out that eating does not make me feel better? It doesn't help. It doesn't even do anything for me anymore. All it does now is make me pissed off that I fell for the illusion again. So when something is like a deeply ingrained, long-term, habitual thing that you do, like the way you are with money often, it can take a long time. Your bridge of incidents, which can just be as simple as being presented with the same thing you've been presented with for years and behaving differently this time, that can take a long time. Changing who you are can take time. And so the expectation of your manifestation to show up right away, when your manifestation includes you being a very different person mentally, that's an unreasonable expectation to have. And you have to allow yourself to go through the process, because some change is just not able to happen overnight. Some is. Some change can be instant, but long-term habits and deeply rooted behaviors, parts of your identity that just seem like they've been with you since birth, those things can require you to go through experiences over and over again until you figure out how to be that person that is the person that actually occupies the state that you've taken on naturally. You're going to end up being that person that naturally lives in that state. And when you first take it on and it feels real, it's going to take 3D you some amount of time to catch up. And the bigger the change, the longer it's going to take. If you are obese and you want to go to being your ideal weight, that is a big change. If you want to go from being broke to being a millionaire, that is a big mental change that requires a lot of behavioral changes. So the bigger your manifestation, the more personal changing you're going to have to do to get it. And this is something that has to be accepted and embraced. And if you can be aware of it, from how I just explained it to you, especially, when you can recognize that you're being presented with an opportunity to act differently, to act congruently with your desired end state, you can speed right through it. You can try anyway. You can do it as fast as you can, at least. You don't have to go into it blind. You don't have to go into it with expectations. You don't have to be presented with the first opportunity to blow money or eat a bunch of pizza and just go, oh, I screwed up. Just forget it. Just forget the whole thing. You got to have realistic expectations about how these things go down. So I hope that helps somebody, and bye-bye.